The NBA playoffs have been a treat to watch, to say the least. I mean, the first day we literally got to upset every single game except for the Warriors-Clippers game, and even that was fun to watch as Steph Curry would drop 36 points, 15 rebounds, and 7 assists. Yup, 15 rebounds. Now, a couple months ago I made a video highlighting every NBA team's biggest problem, and now that the playoffs have arrived and every problem is now magnified and taken advantage of, I wanted to make a little follow-up series specifically for playoff teams so you guys know exactly what to look for while watching these crazy games. This video is more focused on the X's and O's aspect of the game instead of the management problems that I talked about in the previous videos that I uploaded. But before we do that, a quick shout out from our sponsors over at SeatGeek. SeatGeek is an app that gets tickets from all over the web and puts them into one app so you can find the best prices for all of your event ticketing needs. I used it to go to the Thunder Celtics game this year, and we actually did find the best deal on SeatGeek. And also, I just check the app regularly because it pretty much features all the events in your local area. You can check the seat before you go, check prices with ticket fees included, a very underrated feature, and the app is just very simple and intuitive to use. And thanks to the people over at SeatGeek, you can use the code BSOULS for $20 off your first purchase. Check the description for links to download the app on your iOS and Android device. And once again, shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring this video. Now, the Bucks are always a tough one to come up with weaknesses for because they really do not have a lot of them. They have the best record in the league for a reason, as they are a very versatile team that embodies exactly what modern NBA basketball is all about. However, I would say the only thing I'm really worried about this team is the injury of Malcolm Brogdon, as he is a crucial part to this team's success. On March 16th, Brogdon suffered a minor plantar fascia tear in his right foot and was set to be out indefinitely. This was a guy who averaged roughly 16 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists on well over 50, 40, 90 splits. And while I feel like the Bucks will be fine against the Pistons, especially without Blake Griffin for the first round, which is pretty much the playoffs because the Bucks will sweep the Pistons, against teams like the 76ers, the Raptors, and the Celtics, the Bucks will definitely need all the help they can get. The amount of productivity Brogdon provides on both ends is something they will definitely miss if he does end up missing a big chunk of the playoffs, if not all of it. Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry is Toronto's biggest problem. Now, the Raptors, like the Bucks, are a very well-rounded team, and I don't want to make it seem like just because of Game 1 that the Raptors are in big trouble, as even with Kyle Lowry's terrible performance, it took a surprisingly dominant game from DJ Augustine, out of all people, to pull off that win. However, if the Raptors do want to win the championship, which is their goal, Kyle Lowry must play better. Yes, his playmaking ability this year has been arguably the best it's been by all metrics. However, his scoring woes have really been affecting this team because when your second best player is only scoring 12 points on 39, 36, 79 splits over the last 13 games of the season, when you're expecting more of 15 to 18 points a game on much better efficiency, and then he pulls off what he did in Game 1, it is definitely a cause to pause for any team in that situation. And especially in a year where you're trying to not only win the championship, but also try to woo Kawhi Leonard into staying in Toronto, Lowry's performance will definitely matter in this year's playoffs. The 76ers, man. I could honestly make a separate video on the 76ers, but I'm gonna wait a little bit to do that video because I don't want to jump to conclusions after just one game. But man, regardless of that one game, Ben Simmons has to be undoubtedly their biggest problem, hands down. While his stats don't suggest it, you can clearly see when you watch the game that Ben Simmons a lot of times can be an offensive liability.
Man, BSouls, you tripping. How can you average 17 points and 8 assists and be an offensive liability? You're just being biased.
Well, you see, in the playoffs, the game slows down, which means more half-court action. And please, I would love for someone to tell me that Ben Simmons doesn't just instantaneously turn into like Dennis Rodman on offense the second he's off the ball. That's how bad of a shooter he is, and that's how much it affects this team. The 76ers are forced to put him in the block most of the time on half court when he doesn't have the ball. And what this does is it makes it harder for guys like Jimmy Butler, Tobias Harris, and even Joel Embiid to correctly create their shot because Ben Simmons' man can easily help onto them. And for Ben Simmons to even be effective on offense in the half-court setting, everyone has to essentially turn into a cutter or spot-up shooter while he handles the ball, which is simply not their natural role. Like, if this continues, the 76ers have to seriously reconsider their future and if Ben Simmons should really be a part of it. Because I am one to believe that if they literally had any other above average point guard that can shoot, this team would be so much better. The biggest weakness the Celtics have is their forward position. Specifically the fact that they can't play the position defensively, or struggle in doing so. The Celtics throughout the majority of the season have been trying to play a lineup consisting of either Marcus Morris, Gordon Hayward, or Jason Tatum at the 4, and throughout the whole season they have been getting killed defensively because of it. While it is very effective offensively, as running the stretch 4 has been pretty much customary in the modern NBA, what people have to understand is the teams who have done it successfully have found success from it because the 4s that they have are physical enough to bang with even traditional 4s and some 5s along with some 2s and 3s. PJ Tucker, Serge Ibaka, Draymond Green, Paul Millsap. While the Celtics are deviating from that idea by adding additional shot creation on offense instead of just a spot-up shooter, and at times it has shown to be very effective, it definitely has its flaws, and that comes on the defensive side of the ball. The Victor Oladipo injury is finally showing its effects on this team, and it doesn't look pretty. While Coach McMillan has done a tremendous, and I mean a tremendous job in making this team still a competitive team, it is evident that they could really use a shot creator that can bail them out of situations, and they do have one. It's just that he's injured, sadly. But there's not much to it. It's just that the Pacers are missing that guy that's supposed to take them into that next level. And it's just a shame because this team would be really good if they had Oladipo, and this first round series would be much better as well if they did. The Brooklyn Nets have been a great story this whole season. No one expected them to be as good as they are, but as good as they are, they were still barely an over 500 team. And a big weakness this team has had is their defensive versatility. While a lot of teams in the NBA have switched to a switch everything defense, no pun intended, if you look at the Nets personnel, they are not really a versatile group. And this was really evident when they were forced to put Jared Dudley on Boban Marjanovic in Game 1, which he surprisingly did a good job of defending, but that's still an alarming sight regardless. They have a lot of players that do their job extremely well, but this is a team that does have some mismatches that teams can definitely take advantage of. The Orlando Magic in the playoffs still don't sound right, but here we are. While the Magic did stun the Raptors in Game 1, like I said in the beginning of the video, it is definitely unlikely that this will happen 3 more times. Why? Because they don't really have a consistent wing bucket getter. While Aaron Gordon has definitely shown some good strides this year, I still don't think he's a big enough perimeter threat to be considered seriously. However, he is getting there. This is a team that runs a lot of their action through the post and some pick and roll action with their guards, who aren't that elite to be an extreme threat. To put it simply, this is a team who was expected to get beaten 5 with Blake Griffin, and now that he's out, this should be a sweep. 5 games at most. It's honestly not even worth the time talking about their weaknesses in the playoffs, as they simply can't compete offensively when they have to rely on Luke Kennard and Andre Drummond as their main source of production on the offensive end. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Here are the biggest weakness to every playoff team. Part 1, this was only for the Eastern Conference. I will be doing the Western Conference for my next video. Let me know what you're looking forward to the most in the playoffs this year. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'm out. Peace.